All right, so people have been hammering me about how to hold people accountable. The best thing you can do is become learned, but people are having a lot of issues with like police department, sheriff department, city council, town, school boards, all these things, right? And the best way I can explain this to you, because it's really fucking simple. It's really not that hard. First of all, you have to be cognizant and of the mindset that there is no government. It's all corporations, ladies and gentlemen. That is exactly what the fuck it is. Every constitution is a corporate charter. This shit goes back 10,000 fucking years. It's never changed. It will always be the same, you know. So with that understanding, and finally being able to allow that to resonate in your mind, all right? One, all men are created equal, which means no man has a right to legislate over another, period. End of fucking story. Absent of you committing a heinous crime in front of somebody, there is no laws, all right? And what I mean by that, because there is law, so let me clarify. Statutes, codes, city ordinances, rules, and regulations are not law. They are chartered corporations and private policy of said charters, okay? As a man, there are laws that we must abide by. For example, the law is very stringent. If you jump off a 10-story building, make no mistake about it, your short lift from where you jumped from will be short-lived, because inevitably the law will bring you to the fucking ground. That will happen. And the law also dictates that it's not the fall that hurts. No. The law is very clear. It's unmistakable. It's the sudden stop at the end that hurts like hell. All right, that's the law. What goes up will come down. It's the law, okay? And so there's some other laws here. Don't rape, rob, maim, pillage, steal, lie, loot, and break your contracts. That's fucking law. It is so simple. We learned all this shit in kindergarten. Keep your hands and feet to yourself. Be honest and virtuous to the best of your ability, right? Always strive to tell the truth. If you're going to tell a little white lie, make sure at the end of your little punchline or joke, you say, I'm just fucking with you, or something. You know, just trying to get a rise out of you. Make sure to always try and be forthcoming and honest to the best of your ability, right? But the law is very, very simple. So people are going, well, how do you hold these people accountable? It's actually really simple when you're of the mindset that it's all business. And I got to thank Karen Lynn Noakes. I mean, I don't think her very often because, you know, my opinion of her, well, let's just throw that out the window for a minute. She's a judge, alleged judge that sat on a bench. So she's really a banker on behalf of her principal, lying, looting, pandering, plundering, and stealing from people due to their ignorance. Okay, I understand what she's doing. I understand what purpose she serves. But one of the best things that woman ever told me from the bench, and I mean I was madder than a hatter. Every blood vessel in my fucking body was bulging because we were in a heated battle in court, all right? She was trying to fucking lord over me. And I don't take too kindly to that shit. I never have, and I never fucking will. If you want to lord over me, you better fucking lace up your bootstraps, because it is not an easy task. Just call my parents and ask them. My dad, at 14 years old, I was 14 fucking years old, had to screw my window shut with 3.5-inch torque head screws. All right, that was when torque screws just really came out. You know, they're better than your Phillips head. Less likely to strip anyway, right? And that's what he used to do to keep me in the house. He used to lock my fucking bedroom door at night, you know, because he knew that no doubt at 13, 14 years old, I'd jump from a second-story window to go sniffing the patches of fur out there. I was young, dumb, full of cum, and eager to meet up with women, all right? So, with that said, there were consequences for my actions. As soon as he figured out that I was dumb enough to jump out of a second-story fucking window, thankfully never broke my leg. That was his real concern, was that I would break my leg doing that. His second concern was that I would knock somebody up at the age of 14. Hence, the torque screw, all right? 3-inch screws driven all the way through my windows into the jamb, holding my windows shut, okay? Now, there's something to learn from this, right? It's all business. It's all a corporation. And Karen Lynn Noakes did me the best favor in the world when one day, while I was so fucking pissed off, she said, Derek, it's not personal. And I'm thinking to myself, fuck you. Fuck you. Sit there on that bench acting all high and mighty and tell me this isn't fucking personal. And the next words that came out of her mouth took me 6 months to comprehend. And she said, it's just business. Most powerful thing that woman ever did for me was point out the blatantly fucking obvious. It wasn't personal. It was just business. And if I wanted to be effective in the court, then I had to make that connection. Derek, this isn't personal. It's business. And the more and more I studied, the more and more I began to learn. Of course, my cognitive dissonance kicked in, and I'm like, no, that's my name. That's mine. How foolish. How facetious can you be? It's not your fucking name. Who knows how many Derek Chaton Gonzalez's are out there? Well, fuck, for crime and Italy's sake, the Hispanic folk breed like fucking rabbits. There's probably 50 Derek Chaton Gonzalez's out there. Okay, and furthermore, there's plenty of Ben Shapiro's out there, and there's plenty of fucking Kelly Clarksons, whatever the fuck you want to say. It doesn't matter. Just think of how many dogs out there are named Bella after the fucking Twilight saga came out, right? Almost everybody's fucking female dog is named Bella. Do they own the name? Of course not, because if that was true, there'd only be one fucking Bella out there. There wouldn't be 50,000 of those little crotch goblins running around the world, right? Okay? So the point of the matter is, you don't own the fucking name. And you're going in there by mistake and you're claiming something that doesn't rightfully belong to you. And you can't prove that you own it. But you're going in there and claiming the son of a bitch. Okay? Secondly, we all learned how to spell in kindergarten. All right? You started out probably with a crayon, watercolors, finger paint, something along them lines. And at what point in your fucking dumbed down public fool system, even in Common Core, did you learn how to write your name in all capital letters? Just tell me when. Because I don't ever recall any of that shit when I was in school. All right. Now, I haven't been in school since I was 13 years old. Well, that's not true either. I went into college. But nevertheless, the point I'm trying to make is it just goes back to the basic fundamentals. So you want to hold these people accountable, right? You really want to, you want to go the extra mile because you realize now, after years and years of watching me and so many others, you realize freedom isn't free. Okay. First of all, you got to turn off the fucking boob tube. That boob tube is not helping you out. TikTok, watching women shake their ass and their tits is not helping you out. You got to read a book. And I know it's a challenging task. Many of us have the attention span of a fucking gnat. It should be a sin. All right. But here's the bottom line. You got to open up a book and read it. I can only go so far as to explain this to you, but most of my acquired knowledge came, one, from my mentors who were kick-ass, who never really told me the answers, but gave me a book. And then I would call them up without reading the book. Maybe I would read the back of it or a couple paragraphs or maybe just a chapter here and skip towards the end and read another chapter. And then I would call them back up going, okay, all right. I think I got this figured out. And I would start talking and they go, you didn't read the book. Oh, yeah, I did. I read. Okay, great. You read the book? Then why you called me? Because the answers are in the book. So if you're calling me to have a conversation to make sure that you comprehend the knowledge within that book, we can do that. But you calling me asking discovery questions is just telling me you didn't read the book, because this is an articulate conversation right now. You're just asking me questions. You're fishing, Derek, because you're not applying yourself. And freedom requires you to apply yourself. So, okay, great. So, I mean, the best teachers in the world, the best mentors I've ever had, never actually showed me how to do a fucking thing. They showed me where I could find the answers to be able to do the things that I wish to do. So, when holding public officials accountable, understanding that there is no government, it's all corporate charters, everybody's involved in business, okay? Those corporate charters are designed and set up so people can wear a mask, a persona, so they can go home at night and rest their head on their pillow and believe that they've done nothing wrong, okay? Because why? It was just my job. I was just doing my job. Now, let me point this shit out to you. Every police department, every county, every city created is bound by a charter. And that charter is directly tied to the state constitution and the United States of America's Constitution. All right. And this is very, very, very important. This is one of the quintessential pieces I'd been missing for so long. And then I came across Bonds for the Win, and they're like, hey, man, you got to check this out. This chick she's awesome. And I went and checked out her videos. I went and checked out her website, and I was like, this gal's onto something. She's talking about risk management. She's talking about sureties. She's talking about criminal policies or crime policies. She's talking about fidelity bonds, bid bonds, payment bonds, warehouse bonds. She's talking about everything, the whole gamut. She pretty much laid out on her website. And I started thinking about it because I understood that it was all business, because if it wasn't business, it would have no need for insurance. All right? Lawful men and women don't require insurance. Why? Because the shit they're doing is with pure intent, good heart, and if they make a mistake, they'll fix it. A lot of the contractors I worked with throughout the years, we always laughed about having to pay contractor insurance. Because if we break something, we're not going to insurance to fix that shit. Are you fucking nuts? We're not paying higher premiums to be on a fucking job a year down the road. No. You know what we're doing? We're going on a phone. Fred, I hit a fucking gas line. Get down here and fix this shit, man. I'll just pay you out of pocket. No big deal. Cool. Got your back. Hey, Al. Yeah, I ended up driving a screw through a water line. I need you to come down here and fix this shit. All right. That's in some instances. Most instances in Nebraska, we just fix the shit ourselves because, well, that's what you do out there. Everybody's fucking busy. Nobody's really got time to help you. Although we will if you call, knowing that you applied yourself trying to fix it in the first instance. Something like gas lines, electric lines, that's a little different. But anyway, nevertheless, can be done. All right. So as contractors, we all know this. If we screw something up, we phone a friend. Hey, get down here. You're licensed. Come down here and fix this thing for me. I'll just kick it out of pocket. I don't want my insurance going through the roof. Talk with the homeowner, make sure they're cool with it. Hey, my buddy's licensed. He's good with this stuff. Do you mind if I just bring him down? No cost to you. I'll take care of it. I'll do the drywall repairs, whatever else needs done. And they're normally cool about it too, right? So everybody's on the same page. We're all ascended of the mind. Everything's going to be okay, and remedy has been had. Same thing applies with these people, okay? They have a corporate charter. And their corporate charter, I'm just going to read you one because I'm working on a case right now in a 1983 lawsuit that was bungled. And as they asked me to step in and write the final order for the court for a default judgment. So based upon the information they gave me, I wrote up this brilliant default judgment only to find out at like 3 a.m. as I'm ripping apart the case that the case has no standing. He didn't substantiate how the court had jurisdiction. He didn't properly identify the plaintiffs, the defendants. There were more than just one. There were multiple defendants. And then he also didn't understand that this involved an agency who had a primary fucking duty to make sure that the agents in agency were properly informed of the Constitution and the bounds of their charter, okay? What binds them, what makes them liable and accountable is that charter, okay? So just hear this, because this deals with the police department. I'm not going to get into all the details, but I want to help you understand how this works, because now I'm amending the original complaint. Of course, we're going to write to court, hey, we need to amend the original complaint to remove all the confusion and the hubbub in this case. One, we're going to establish why this court has jurisdiction. 2, we're going to establish all the parties. 3, we're going to file a proper complaint, okay, that lists out and itemizes. Remember, your original claim is the true bill due in owing. It has to be itemized, okay? I was pulled over on I-70. It was approximately 11 o'clock at night. The man who pulled me over, his name is John Doe Smith, who at times acts as a state trooper. Okay, because they're all acting. Why are they acting? Because it's all a theatrical fucking show. It's all a corporation. It's all business, baby. All right? Was it the police officer that caused this man harm? No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. You want to know why? Because the only thing police officer is a fucking title. And you're more apt to get cut by a piece of paper than you are to get hurt by a title. In fact, the only thing that hurts you with titles is the fact in your mind you believe somehow that the police officer hurt you. It's an impossibility, all right? The law is specific, and you have to call it exactly like you see it. A man by the name of John Doe Smith, who at times acts as a police officer, stopped me illegally, unlawfully, with no reasonable articulable suspicion, no reasonable articulable fact. He had no warrant for my arrest. There was not a grand jury indictment, and there wasn't an APB out on an automobile that looked similar to mine that was involved in a crime. This man had absolutely zero fucking probable cause to stop me. I don't care if I didn't use a blinker. I don't give two flying fucks if I was speeding. He had no probable cause to stop me. No reasonable articulable suspicion to believe I was engaged in commerce. No reasonable articulable fact to support his reasonable articulable suspicion, right? I just spanked the dog shit out of him, okay? But I'm very specific on who caused me the damage, all right? Who caused me the harm and why. Let me tell you why that cop, okay, that man, John Doe Smith, who acts as a cop, is in trouble with a guy like me, all right? Consistent with the ideas of law enforcement services, every sworn officer of, I'm just going to throw a different town name in there because I don't want these guys to know I'm coming. We'll just call it, we'll use Ord, Nebraska, just for shits and giggles, all right? Not that I'm doing anything in Ord, Nebraska right now, but I will be. Consistent with the ideas of law enforcement services, every sworn officer of Ord Police Department shall strive to maintain social peace within the community they are sworn to protect, being fully cognizant of the ethical, and here it is, and constitutional restrictions essential to the proper performance of their duties. So guess who else becomes a party to the action at this point in my 1983? Oh yes, the corporation holds liability for failure to train their officers properly on my rights and to ensure that they didn't breach their fucking charter. So they're negligent. They're culpable. I think that's the word. I think that's how you say it. Culpable. They're culpable for their negligence. All right. They're liable for their negligence for failure to train John Doe Smith, who violated my unalienable rights and is in breach of his charter for lack of training. Now, guess what? Now I'm going to go ahead and get a hold of their corporate charter, and I'm going to find out who, whether I got to subpoena the shit, because sometimes they won't give it to you. So fuck it. Start a court case. Real simple shit. Start a court case and immediately file for, one, an electronic surveillance preservation request. All right. Thank you, Mr. Anonymous. Appreciate you, brother. Electronic surveillance preservation request. Any communications from the squad car to the police station or to the whatever they're fucking communicating with. The name eludes me right now. Anyway, whoever they're communicating with, if I find out they're using their cell phone, guess what? All their dirty laundry is mine. I'm subpoenaing their cell phone records, their text messages, their phone calls. If I find out that you're using your private fucking property while you're on duty working for that corporation, guess what? I got access to everything now. If you're cheating on your wife, she will fucking know about it because I'll publish that shit. All right. If you got skeletons in your closet and you're snorting coke off a whore's ass at 3 a.m. while you're supposed to be on duty and you got that stupid shit on your fucking phone because you're retarded using your private property during the course of your business, guess what? The whole fucking world's going to know about that shit because here's the thing. Jesus said, let he who has not sinned throw the first stone at this woman. You're calling her an adulterous whore, but not one of you here has a clean slate. Not fucking one of you. Every last one of you has sin upon your plate. The irony of that is the only one that could have possibly thrown a stone at that woman, whether she was an adulterous woman or not, whether she was a whore or not, would have been Jesus. And what did he show us? He showed us equity. He also showed us that he isn't the one that gets to make the decisions anyway. He can't throw a stone. That's his Father's business. He made that real clear. All right? So that's why I read the Bible. There's good stuff in there. But I want to get back to the corporate charter, okay? Because they're bound by this shit. And now you can get a hold of risk management or whoever's carrying the insurance policy. Remember, the reason you have to get a license to do something is because otherwise it would be illegal, okay? So you have to get a license to do something in order to do something that would otherwise be illegal. Why do you have to carry insurance? Because you're doing illegal shit with a license and you carry liability. You're either a really good fucking criminal and you can get to do business for the next 45 years being a fucking criminal, okay? But if somebody catches you being a criminal, guess what? You lose your criminal points with the insurance company. And after getting dinged 2, 3, 4, 5 times, poof! They won't insure you to be a criminal anymore. All right. The only reason you get a license is so you can engage in criminal activity. Period. That's what it is. Okay. So let's check this out. Sworn to protect, being fully cognizant of the ethical and constitutional restrictions essential. Constitutional restrictions essential. Let me say again. Constitutional restrictions essential to the proper performance of their duties. They are duty bound. They are fiduciaries. They are trustees. Okay. And how do we know that? Because they are constitutionally restricted, and it's essential that they all be fully informed of those restrictions. All right. Now, if the police department fails to train them adequately and they go out there and they start running and gunning and just pulling you over on a whim in your private household consumer good, primarily used for household purposes, not engaged in commerce, and start issuing you tickets and soliciting you from the road or dragging you out of your car and having it hauled away, which is, some people call it grand theft auto. I would just say it's theft, all right? Instead of perverting it and using legalese, let's just call it what it is. It's theft by taking. And if they did it with a weapon, it's aggravated theft, all right? If they had a gun on their hip, whether they're qualified, not qualified, I don't give a shit. Why? Because they're bound by the constitutional restrictions, all right? Every ORD police officer, and again, this doesn't pertain to ORD because this isn't ORD's charter. This is some other state, some other place. Charter. I'm just using ORD, filling it in there because people are familiar with that with me, and I don't want to let these people know that I'm coming down the pike. Every ORD police officer will endeavor to protect life, the property, and personal liberties of all members of the community. Geez, I wonder where they stole that motherfucking line from. I mean, it's too brilliant for a guy who has an IQ of maybe 70 to have thought of that, because most gun-toting morons, let's just be real fucking honest, they are dumber than a pile of fucking flaming dog shit, all right? So I don't think that these geniuses came up with this language yourself or their self. What do you guys think, right? Every ORD police officer will endeavor to protect life, the property, and the personal liberties of all the members in the community. Holy sheep shit. Sounds like, yeah, that sounds like freedom to me. That sounds like they might have been getting that from the founding fathers, and yep, that sounds like some constitutional shit, don't it? Now listen, it gets better. By providing such, what? Protection. Why did men institute government amongst men? Why did men feel the need to institute government amongst men, right? To provide what? Yeah, that's protection. You're correct. Protection, all right? That's the only reason government was instituted amongst men, was to provide for their protection of what? Their rights. By providing such protection, the officer contributes to the security basic to all and recognized in the establishment of our country. What the fuck was the founding doctors that established the establishment of our country? Federalist Papers, Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, the state constitutions, right? Those are the cemented foundations for liberty, ladies and gentlemen. Every ORD police officer shall function in an effort to prevent criminal activity. Well, fuck, how are you preventing criminal activity while you're out there promoting it? You're out there raping, robbing, fleecing, pillaging, looting, and stealing from the unwary men and women in this country, all right, under the guise that you're going to be bound by the very instrument that we hold so sacred. Yet you've never read the motherfucker. And I know this, and I can prove this. I got a buddy, an acquaintance, we'll call him an acquaintance. I think he's a friend. He might not feel the same way about me. He's a former state trooper, I can't remember if it was Air National Guard or what it was exactly, but former military member, now a deputy sheriff. He's retired from the military and state troopers, but now he's just a deputy sheriff. The guy's cool as shit. I mean, he used to screw with me when I was a young little pup running around the town raising all kinds of ruckus, you know. That's what young people do typically. And he was always straight up with me. And one day I asked him, I think I was probably 33, 32, something like that, a few years back anyway. And I asked him, I said, hey man, with all your training, you've been involved in the military, state patrol, the sheriff's department. Yeah, I mean, you've just done all kinds of things. In all your training, did you ever, being involved with all the government stuff that you've done, seminars, the whole 9 yards, have you ever read the Constitution page by page from beginning to the end? Ever in any of your training, whether it be police academy, the military training, because I think he was in the Army and then he went Air National Guard or Reserves, something along those lines. So there's multiple trainings this man went through by the government, okay, mind you, including State Patrol and the Sheriff's Department and everything else. And he says, Derek, you know, I can be real honest with you. I think we lightly touched on the Fourth Amendment. We very lightly may have touched on the Fifth Amendment. Briefly on the First Amendment, and that was about it. That's the best of my recollection. We barely did any talking about it. And I said, that doesn't strike you as odd? And he kind of sat there for a minute. I said, let me ask you a question. How do you swear an oath to something, one, that you don't understand, and two, that you've never fucking read? How do you do that? How do you know that you're truly fulfilling your oath if you don't even know what it is you took an oath to? And he goes, Derek, that is a really good point. The man doesn't cuss or anything like that, but you can see the sincerity in his eyes. Like, you know, it's hard to argue with logic, Derek. I know a lot of people think you're a crazy motherfucker, but I'll be honest, there are some points that you make that are so relevant, only an ignorant fool would care to argue. Well, I ain't got time for ignorant fools, and I ain't got time for arguments that are unfounded and unsubstantiated, and you can't really make your fucking point because it's just nonsensical. But when you hit home with these points with some of these people, because they do have good hearts. You know, for example, I have a lot of State Patrol friends. I have a lot of sheriff friends. I have some friends in the military. I have friends in special forces. I have friends that are in the fucking Navy, Marines, you name it. All right. And a lot of them have got really big, good hearts. They really believe in what they're doing. And they all agree. It is kind of insane that we take an oath to something that we really don't know what we're doing. And I said, and how can you even affirm that you're taking an oath to the right thing, considering that there are multiple constitutions? Okay. For example, in one state, there are actually 3 different constitutions in one state. Okay, there's the organic one, the secondary one, and then the third one that they amended. So there's 3 of them. And the Library of Congress said, well, which one are you talking about? And the guy's like, what do you mean? She goes, well, there's 3 of them. Which one do you want? And he's like, fuck it, I want all 3 of them. I want to see the differences between each one, you know? Anyway, we'll carry on here. Every Ord police officer shall enforce the laws. What laws? What laws? It says laws. Notice that it doesn't say policies. Notice that it doesn't say provisions. Notice that it doesn't say fucking statutes, codes, regulations. It says fucking laws. What are the laws in this fucking land? Well, for agents and agency that don't care to fucking read, the law of the land. That's the law they're talking about. The law of the land. All right? Which means if there's no victim, there's no motherfucking crime. All right? Real simple. Real simple. And we're talking about how to hold these people accountable. I'm telling you right now, this is one of the methods that can be utilized for your benefit. We're talking CPS. We're talking the fucking felonious, fake, and false courts. Okay, the family courts, they're not courts. They look like a court. You scratch them and stiff them, and they stink like a fucking court, but they're not a fucking court. All right? It's all a show. It's all a fucking facade. It's a business deal, baby. And to prove it, all of them have fucking DUNS numbers. Every fucking last one of them. And every last one of them has a corporate policy. And every last one of them has a charter. And every last one of them is fucking engaged in business that requires insurance, that requires them to be registered with the Secretary of State, that requires them to have a letter of good standing from the fucking IRS to do business in this country. Okay? And this is how you hold their fucking nuts to the fire. Get their corporate charter. Bind them to it. All of these corporate charters are published. This one's on a .gov website, for fuck's sake. This is their policy. This is their charter. This is their preamble to their charter. Consistent with the ideas of law enforcement services, every sworn officer of the Ord Police Department shall strive to maintain social peace within the community they are sworn to protect. Okay? Being fully cognizant of the ethical and constitutional restrictions. Really? They're cognizant of that shit? That's why they continue to pull people over on the side of the road, break into their fucking houses, rip them out of their cars, steal their children from them as civil fucking servants. Do you really think they're cognizant of their fucking duty? They're not. And part of the reason they're not is because the American people are asleep at the fucking wheel. We are the problem. Look in the guy's darn mirror. We're the problem, not them. We can't expect them to be any better than we are. So what do? We get together in the community. We read the Constitution. We understand the Constitution because remember, it's not to be interpreted. It was written in plain fucking English. For Pete's sake, a 6-year-old can read the Constitution and understand it. Now, it's not legalese. It's just written in plain fucking old English. There was nothing manifest in those constitutions to lead to blasphemy, trickery, and a manipulation of the language. It was all written in fucking plain English. We are due, I find, these charters. Well, right now, I'm on a state.gov site. Okay, so go to yourstate.gov and look them up. Or if you're looking for the specific police department, for example, you just pull up the police department town charter or the city charter to find these charters. You got to do a little bit of looking. Some towns are easier to find than others. For example, Lakewood, Colorado, real simple. You just type in lakewood.gov, and then I think it's like 2 down. It says that the charter has been remastered 3 times. The last time was like in 2002. Okay, so they got new charters, but they say the same fucking thing. They just move the paragraphs around a little bit. Okay, but normally within the three first paragraphs of any charter dealing with law enforcement, okay, whether it be the sheriff's department, state troopers, or the fucking police department, it's all right there. So when a police department or a police officer, John Doe Smith, who acts as a police officer on behalf of his principal, causes you harm, you can't sue the state over that. It's not the state's problem. It's the police department you can sue, all right? You can sue the police department. There may be grounds to move that suit or expand it towards the city board because they authorize these people to do business there. But one of the criteria for them to be able to even establish the police department in the town is they must agree to abide by the motherfucking Constitution. All right? It's in their fucking charters. Pull their fucking charters, submit it as evidence into the fucking court, subpoena the electronic surveillance preservation request, give notice you want the electronic surveillance preservation request enacted and that you want all their cell phones, cameras, communications from the squad car to the jailhouse, whatever the case may be, right? To the broadcaster, the one that's communicating with them. And you get all that evidence. Then you simply just look at the insurance company and say, okay, well, here's what was violated. My unalienable rights were violated. I was caused harm by way of trespass by way of a man by the name of John Doe Smith, who at times acts as a police officer for your corporate charter for which you hold the bond for as surety. Just in case somebody wasn't properly trained and recognized that the Constitution is the very limitation of their charter. And when they encroach upon it and cross that line, well, you got to pay me out. It's that fucking simple. Here's my claim, and if we go to court, I'm going for much fucking more than I'm asking right here. Way fucking more. Because you're causing me a hassle, a headache, when your job is to liquidate that fucking bond, make me whole, and make sure slap-happy John Doe Smith isn't behind the wheel of a squad car anymore, allegedly protecting and serving because he doesn't know his fucking job. He's a liability, all right? That's how it works. It's all corporate charters. All the courts have corporate charters. Do you guys know that? Every court has a fucking DUNS number, and now, after the 4th month of this year, as December, January, February, March, April, I think it was after April 1st, in fact, every last court, police station, county, they're all required now to register with sam.gov. Sam.gov gives identifiers that are similar, if not the same. Well, they're similar. They're not the same. As the DUNS number, because they're a private, for-profit fucking corporation, and they're required by law to do so. Okay? So that's how you find their corporate charters. And then get a hold of the Secretary of State. Because every business is either to be registered with the IRS or the Secretary of State. Okay? Or both. Okay? I've got some things that are just registered with the IRS that they're entities, if you will. Remember, as a man, I can have multiple persons. The driver's license is a person. It doesn't belong to me. I utilize it. Okay, but it belongs to the estate. The birth certificate isn't mine. It belongs to the estate. The Social Security card isn't mine. It belongs to the estate. Well, then who the fuck are you, Derek? I'm the beneficiary. All right? And at times I can be the trustee because it's beneficial to be the trustee and not the beneficiary. Because the trustee can call shots and appoint fiduciaries and make shit happen. But to keep it simple for you guys tonight, because I keep getting bombarded with these questions, how do you hold them accountable? Grab their charter. Subpoena it into court. So you got a certified, verifiable copy of it, okay? That will be recognized as evidence in the court. Don't print it off the internet, take it into the court, and try and get them to recognize it as evidence. They absolutely will not do it. Because remember, they're part of this whole shit show too. The courts, they're protecting their own interests as well. They're not going to bite the hand that fucking feeds them. However, if you're crafty enough, if you're slick enough, if you understand this well enough, you can put the evidence before them, and it's just so fucking in their face they can't deny it, okay? Because to deny it would discredit them completely in its entirety. So what do? Subpoena that shit. Make them give it to you. Bring it into that fucking court. I guarantee you it won't get that far before the insurance company goes, hey, whoa. We just cut you a check, dude. How much? Right there. That's the number. Write it out. Give it over. And I'll sign a form saying that I release them from their liability and I won't bring suit after this check has been cashed in full and I've been made whole. Sometimes the only way that you can be made whole is money damages. All right? That's it. You can't get time back. Once it's gone, it's gone. All right? So this is just a real heart-to-heart with you guys to help you see this stuff. All right, you can subpoena their corporate charters, subpoena their bonds, subpoena their oath, subpoena their crime policy, their fidelity bonds. Remember, the Constitution's very clear. Every fucking last one of them shall be independently bonded before holding office, or the office is vacant. Okay? Now, they kind of subverted that by doing these blanket bonds. Don't let a blanket bond fucking scare you. In fact, a blanket bond's almost better than them being independently bonded because now the whole city or the whole county holds the liability. And although they're not supposed to have assets, they hold a fuck ton of assets. Okay? So, just a little tip. Learn how to read their corporate charters. Learn how to hold them accountable. I don't have problems with agents and agency anymore. I don't get meddled with anymore. I dream of the day. I have wet dreams of the day that one of these gun-toting fucking morons decides to stop me. I will laugh my ass all the way to the fucking bank. Guaranteed. That's a guarantee. But it's a matter of acquiring the knowledge in order to do that, and knowing that freedom isn't free, and knowing how the corporate charters work. Every charter, even the East Indian Company charter, it was a charter, ladies and gentlemen. It's a corporate business. It has private laws, bylaws. Only corporations have bylaws. Well, wouldn't you know it? The United States has bylaws. They also have private laws, too, issued by Congress. Private law. Where do you think that came from? Because you think they're actually operating a country? No, they're operating and functioning as a fucking business. All right? And they're all accountable for what they're doing. All of them. And all you got to do is catch them with their pants down. It's put a bright-ass fucking million-watt candle spotlight on their ass, and they'll pull up their pants and leave you alone. Most people just want to be left alone. I want to see some major correction in this country, and the only way that happens is hitting them in the pocketbook. That's the only fucking thing these Bay of Pigs care about. That's it. It's all red flag situations, dumbing down the American people, trying to cull the people. And I'm not saying cull them on the phone. I'm talking about the culling, murdering all you guys, mass fucking genocide. They're involved in it bigger than shit. Just give it another 5 years and see if my prediction isn't 100% true. Here's another prediction for you. You know, they were really fighting to get infants from day 1 to 5 years old vaccinated. But they knew moms and dads probably weren't going to go for that shit. So what are they doing? Formula shortage. Guess who's behind manufacturing the new fucking formula that's going to be released to the public? Just take a wild motherfucking guess. For those of you that aren't out there that are not reading, not paying attention, Bill Gates and his fucking gang of cronies, his gaggle of fucking cronies, are out there right now working on a formula for infants. Oh, gee, I wonder what the fuck's gonna be in that pixie dust. Just take a wild fucking guess. Doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that one out. All right? So anyway, with that said, I love you guys. Hold them accountable. Pull their fucking corporate charters, subpoena their asses to court, make sure to do an electronic surveillance preservation request, get all the fucking film, video, and remember, it may not be admissible in the court. They may find a way to impeach that evidence, okay? And if they should, just know this. Leave it to the American public to decide. Put it out there. I wouldn't put it out there prior to your trial, because then you might prejudice the trial, right? You can't get a fair trial, or they can't get a fair trial, and because of that, you just fucked yourself. So I wouldn't put your evidence out there in the fucking public forum. That's a mistake, all right? It's one thing to live stream something. It's completely different to get the evidence sent to you and then to put it out there on the public, okay? Because they'll immediately move to impeach that or move the trial or say somehow that you prejudice the defendants by releasing certain evidence and now they don't have a right to a fair trial, even though they do the same fucking thing to you before you go to court. They smear your name in the paper. They put it in the police reports. Well, where's your right to a fair and meaningful motherfucking hearing? How is it all of a sudden I'm guilty before proven guilty? Just because somebody made an allegation doesn't mean you're necessarily guilty. Maybe that guy just had a bad perception of the situation. Maybe he didn't see it in his entirety. Perhaps he pulled up seeing the aftermath and not the cause and effect of the decisions made, right? Which makes you look guilty or paints you in a bad light to that man who pulls up to the scene, typically after everything's done, right? So just think about that for a minute. But don't put yourself in a situation where they might be able to utilize that against you, because they fucking will. Absolutely they will. These people don't go to school for 7 years to become lawyers and even longer sometimes, in some instances, to become judges and things, to not learn how to manipulate situations. It's not all about justice, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of it has to do with greed and gluttony. How much can we steal, rape, rob, and pillage from this community using their uncles, their cousins, their brothers, and their sisters? Because they do it. My old man always told me, he says, there are a few things, Derek, that you just don't do in a community that you were raised in. I said, well, I'm all ears. What you got? You know, the old bulls, they always got wisdom. Unfortunately, we're starting to lose those guys at a phenomenal rate. But he says, you never become a preacher in your hometown. You never become a police officer in your hometown. And he said, and the other thing is, on your job sites, you know, ever talk about politics or religion, you leave that shit out. Don't ever do it. Not worth it. You know, just focus on your job. If you're going to run your own business, those are the rules. And it stands very true today. I see a lot of police officers that go back to their hometown after their training, and everybody knows what they used to do when they were an ornery little shit. Some of them were thieves. Some of them were drug dealers. Some of them were big party hounds, drinking and driving all the time. Now, the asinine thing about it is they're back after police academy training, busting all their friends, family, and loved ones for the very same fucking activity that they were once engaged in. You know, so it makes a lot of sense when you listen to the old bulls. It provides a lot of light on a subject matter that so often isn't talked about. Anyway, with that said, very simple to go check that out. You can get their EIN number, their TIN number, their W7, W8, W9, You can subpoena their oaths of office, their bonds, for which they're the principal on the bond, and then the one holding the bond is the surety. Okay, and then there's an agent who's a trustee. I want the agent's name who's the trustee as well. I want him subpoenaed down here too to talk about how much liability these people carry, right? And once you have that information, you can always move the court anytime you want, right? There's time barriers, of course, obviously, but in the middle of this, negotiation could be happening. Mediation, leave of court for mediation. I think that we have a situation here, Your Honor, that I think that we can handle this amicably outside the court. We should always probably do our best to settle our affairs in private versus dragging them into the public. Wouldn't you agree, Judge? Yeah, absolutely. You guys good with that? No opposing side? Oh yeah, we'd like to talk to that guy. We don't want this aired on the 9 o'clock news. You know, we'd really like to talk to him. Judge, I think he seems reasonable, right? So be reasonable. Understand what you're doing. Know that it's just business. That's the best thing Karen Lynn Noakes ever told me. And I kind of despise that gal on a cellular level, because all the things that I were talking about earlier about not doing things, not being a police officer in your hometown or a preacher or a judge or whatever. See, that woman parties and drinks and drives and does all kinds of shit. And yet she's the biggest motherfucking hypocrite because she throws the people in jail for the same fucking shit she does on a weekly fucking basis. So bad to the point that at one point she called a bunch of lawyers up to the bench one day and the guy goes, "You smell like alcohol. Have you been drinking?" Well, she's so pissed off, they went in the back room in the chambers and she didn't realize she still had her fucking microphone on and the whole fucking court could hear them arguing about the opposing attorney saying, "I think you're under the influence. I'm going to report you to the fucking Judiciary Committee." You know, there's a big fucking blow up, big fucking fight. And everybody in the fucking courtroom heard about it. So, you know, just things like that. Pay attention to what you're doing. Bring your claim. That's the other thing. Men don't make complaints. What do you do when 3 and 5 and 6-year-old kids and 10-year-old kids and 12-year-old kids are fucking at a picnic with you and they keep coming over to you going, "Little Tommy hit me." Fucking smoke him in the face. Get out of here. If you're not bleeding, you're not dying, you don't have broken fucking bones, don't come over here to the adult section. We're roasting hot dogs and making cheeseburgers for you little fucking shit stains. Get fucking back over there and play and wear out your energy. So when we get home, you go to bed, you take a nap, something. But do anything but come over here and complain in the adult section. This is not the diaper section. The diaper section, little lady, is over there. Go back over there and play. And if you can't be nice to one another, stay the fuck away from each other. It's pretty fucking simple shit. All right? Go piss in Tommy's sandbox, for fuck's sake. Give us all something to laugh about over here. All right? Bye. Be gone. Go. This is adult time over here. And we're still managing to take care of you little shits. So go on. We'll call you over here when food's ready, right? I don't know how many of you guys were raised that way, but I sure the hell was. Don't you come back over here unless your nose is bleeding or you're bleeding in some part of your body or somebody's dying or you got broken limbs. Other than that, go. Get out of here. Go be a kid. Go explore. Go learn something, right? So anyway, love you guys. Where did you think Bruce Dossett went wrong? I don't know who that is, so can't answer that. And a lot of times, it's not that they're wrong. It's not that they're wrong. It's that the system is so fucking corrupt. I mean, I've seen good judgments come from judges. And the very next week, I've seen piss poor performance from judges. Whether they just had a bad day, don't give a fuck, or think the guy doesn't have the knowledge to combat it. You know, everybody says, "Oh, Derek, I heard you were found guilty." No, first of all, the estate was found guilty. Okay, secondly, the estate can't compel you to pay a tax with a federal fucking reserve note. All right, because the Constitution prohibits it. No state can lay a tax on a man without requiring gold or silver as form of payment, because Article 1, Section 10, no state shall coin money other than gold and fucking silver. And it's cemented in every state constitution, ladies and gentlemen. Every fucking constitution. So if you know your constitution, you can hold them to the fucking constitution. It's pretty simple. Well, I heard you're going to get 2 years out of the deal. There ain't nothing coming out of that shit, guys. Sentencing's already over. And the fun thing is, now it's my turn. It's my turn. And I can bring my claim anytime I want because there are no statutes of limitations as far as equity is concerned. All right? It's that fucking simple. Equity will not allow a wrong to be without a remedy, period. Period. All right? It might not be a financial remedy, maybe some other remedy, but it will not suffer a wrong without a remedy, which means there are no statutes of limitations in reality, ladies and gentlemen. Only in the fictional world are there statutes of limitations. But in equity, a wrong is a wrong is a wrong, and that trespass continues to be a trespass until remedy is fucking had. That's simple. It's that cut and dry. So thanks again for all your support. I hope this little pep talk helps put a little pep in your step, made you laugh, something great came out of it. I don't know what, but hopefully something. And if nothing else, just know this. Freedom isn't free. There are many of us fighting, and don't give up. Giving up is definitely a pitiful means to an end, all right? Fight till your dying fucking breath. Don't ever give up. And it's not about physical confrontation, ladies and gentlemen. The most dangerous weapon you have is in between your ears. That is the most feared and most dangerous fucking weapon in the world. I will say this. The bomb at Nagasaki and Hiroshima would have never dropped had it not been for the swoop of the pen. The pen is mightier than the sword, but more mightier than the pen is what's between your ears. Use it. Use it. All right? Love you guys. We'll talk to you soon.